Alright, so here's the first chapter, chapter 3 that we're doing. I got flashcards out here to just kind of keep my thoughts in check. Um, yeah, so this is the environment I chose. It's just a trail that comes from my house. It's probably a quarter mile away from my house, but there's a river here and there's water. So to begin with chapter 3, we're going to start with the atmosphere. So the atmosphere encircles the Earth. It's an envelope of gases that actually surrounds the Earth. We are currently in the troposphere, which is the inner layer of the atmosphere, and it holds all the air that we breathe. The stratosphere is actually many miles up above us, but it filters out 95% of the sun's harmful ultraviolet rays, so without that we would not be able to survive, and we would most likely burn up and die, as well as all other life. I know this is runoff, which we'll get into later, but this could also be labeled as the hydrosphere, which is all water on or near the Earth's surface. So we see it right here. Thor, come here. Sorry, my dog's out here. Thor, come. Get over here. Sit down. Sit down. Good. If we were to dig straight down from the ground right here, we'd reach the geosphere, which consists of the Earth's basically intensely hot core, so the mantle, as well as the core, which is probably the hardest part on Earth. And we are also labeled to be in the biosphere, which contains all life. So if we were to look in this environment, I'm sure we could see a lot more if we look closely, which we will eventually probably see life in here. It doesn't appear to be too much right now, but the trophic level is an assigned feeding level based on its source. So a fish will be on a higher level or a different level than a bug based on what it consumes. Producers or autotrophs make their nutrients they need from compounds and energy, such as the life we see right here that gets its energy from the sun, as well as CO2 and other things, and converts it, taking energy out of it. They do this by photosynthesis. There's also consumers or heterotrophs that get their nutrients by feeding on organisms, such as the fish that I say, or the water bug. It consumes other things like bacteria and to get its life. There's two types of consumers, primary and secondary. They're labeled as herbivores and carnivores. There's also omnivores like us, which eat both greens and meat, which if we saw a smaller organism that eats leaves as well as eats an animal in the water. And there's also, we don't see it here, but a tertiary consumer, which is a high-level consumer, such as a whale in the ocean that consumes many things a day to sustain energy and keep living. And then there's the detrivores that feed on the waste. So if there's a dead fish in here and the parasites were in it, feeding off it, those would be detrivores. Sorry, I'm just looking at my note cards here. Here we could label a food chain in here, I'm sure. There's the water bug, which feeds off the bacteria. Then next up is the fish that eats the water bug, and the bird that eats the fish. There's also a food web that could be multiple things eat the water bugs, more than just the fish, but another organism, eel or something, comes in and eats the water bugs. That would be a food web, because now there's a network that's more than just one thing eating the other. Biomass is the dry weight of all organic matter contained in its organisms. Gross primary productivity is the rate at which an ecosystem's producers convert solar energy. So the gross primary productivity is more for plants, because it's how much they convert, but biomass is how much matter is contained in an organism. So a fish's biomass is a lot greater than a water bug. We can talk about nutrient cycles, which is as we said in the food chain, the water bug eats the bacteria from the algae in the ground. Then the fish come and eat the bug, and then the fish dies, and parasites get in and break down, which is taken by the bacteria, and That's the big cycle. The water cycle, which we see right here, water is being collected and purified. The water cycle, it collects, purifies, and distributes Earth's fixed water supply. So we see rain, which we just got a couple days ago. Surface runoff, which is this, we see flowing of a stream, and this may be going to a lake or an ocean, possibly Congamon or something farther down that way. We cannot see this. If we went in a cave, I'm sure we could see, but an aquifer, if it was deep down and you saw water dripping off, it would be labeled as an aquifer. Yeah, and that's it for chapter 3. Thank you.